All right, gang. Thank you. These are hard to pull off when you organize them weeks ahead, so I appreciate you guys coming out early. The main event for UFC 200 is Mark Hunt versus Brock Lesnar. And I'm going to get a couple more people out here to talk. So just hang for a minute so we get organized. But the main event for UFC 200 is Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt.
Is that all we get?
What's that?
So can we?
Have a great night. Go back to bed.
Drug testing or injury?
What's that?
Drug testing or injury?
Drug testing or injury? Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead. You ready?
Oh.
And we have mics next to you, so just raise your hand if you have questions.
Good evening. The UFC organization was notified tonight that the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency has informed Jon Jones of a potential anti-doping policy violation stemming from an out-of-competition sample collection on June 16, 2016. USADA, the independent administrator of the UFC anti-doping policy, will handle results management and appropriate adjudication of this case. It is important to note that under the UFC anti-doping policy, there's a full, fair, legal review process that is afforded to all athletes before any sanctions are imposed. However, because Jones was scheduled to compete against Daniel Cormier this coming Saturday, July 9th in Las Vegas, there's insufficient time for a full review before the scheduled bout, and therefore the fight has been removed from the fight card. As a result, the 3-round heavyweight bout between Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt will become UFC 200 main event. Consistent with all previous potential anti-doping violations, additional information or UFC statements will be provided at the appropriate time as the process moves forward. Thank you, guys.
Boom.
Is Jeff going to answer any questions or no?
No.
So, obviously, second time in 3 fights that Jon has done this. What is your reaction to it, first of all? And do you know anything more than, I know you can't say, but do you know anything more than what Jeff said?
I don't. That's all I know. That's all I know. And, you know, obviously he's got the chance to prove himself innocent before being called guilty, but if it's true, obviously super, super disappointing.
When did you first become aware of this?
Just whenever you guys got called is when I found out.
Have you spoken to Jon?
I have not.
Or Malky, any representative of his?
Have neither.
Okay. So we have no idea.
So the way that this process works is the Nevada State Athletic Commission is told first, then we are told, then they notify the fighters.
My last question for you, and this will probably be better for Jeff, but do we know if he's requested the B sample to be tested at this point?
No, nothing yet. No, nothing. Got it to you guys as quick as we could.
Dana, with a bout of this magnitude, do we know why it took several weeks to get in the results?
Yeah, I don't know either. You know, when they do these things, when they test, if something pops up, then they go crazy and test it numerous times and run it through, you know, whatever they do. You know, but they go crazy testing it, and they never give a result until they're absolutely positive.
I know the statements that are given out by the UFC are generally pretty bland by nature, but I mean, do we know if this is a performance-enhancing substance? You know,
I don't know. That I don't know.
It would have to be, because if it was a drug of
drug of use shouldn't be.
It was a thing.
Right.
Right. And I mean, what are the plans with Daniel Cormier moving forward? Do we look at booking something else for him, or is this sitting waiting tight on Jon Jones?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously, this is devastating to Daniel Cormier, you know, not only mentally and physically. He just went through a camp, and financially. This is, this pay-per-view is trending to be massive, so, and he shares in that revenue, so it's devastating to him in every way it could possibly be.
Did he happen to provide you guys any statement?
He's here. I'll bring him out next to talk to you guys.
And obviously much minor details, but the rest of housekeeping, does everything just move up of the fight? Is that how the rest of the bout card works?
Probably, you know, Joe Silva is in the air right now, so he doesn't know, so I will talk to him when he lands, and, you know, maybe somebody wants to pop up and fight Cormier last minute. Stranger things have happened, so we'll see what happens. I would like for that to happen for Cormier, obviously. You know, listen, when you have the biggest, baddest fight card ever assembled, you know, it doesn't sting as bad when you lose a fight, but it stings real bad for Daniel Cormier. You know, this is devastating to him, his family, and I'd like to make a fight if I can.
And just lastly, Dana, how about your thoughts here? I mean, this is seemingly worst case scenario when this whole program was launched. I know you have said that, you know, you're proud of the program, but when something like this happens, does it give you pause to think, no, have we gone too far?
This is the way it should be. You know, we have the best program in all of sports, and this is the way it should be. Obviously, you know, like Kevin, I was at dinner too when I got the call, and I literally, like, Jesus Christ, I must have jinxed myself, because I kept going, everything is going so smooth, everything is going so smooth, and nobody had been hurt. You know, everybody was healthy. So yeah, this was a pretty brutal phone call.
How long does it typically take for it to come back and for sure say, yes, this was what he tested?
Yeah, apparently he was tested in June. In June, at some point in June, he was tested. So yeah, like I said earlier, when something tests positive, when it comes up, they just run it through a bunch of different tests to make sure. They never give a result unless they've really tested it.
And in your experience so far with that, how long has it taken until it finally comes back? I mean, when might we get an answer?
Well, now, you know, I think Jon, again, don't quote me on this, I'm not the guy for this, but he has the ability to test the B sample. And he can have a representative there, he can be there himself, however he wants to handle that.
And you said, I think you told Kevin, you don't know if the B sample has been tested yet?
It has not.
Has not.
Right, because Jon was just notified. So it wouldn't be tested without his knowledge and his, you know, his ability to be there or have a representative be there when they test it.
You haven't talked to Jon yet. What would you say to him?
I haven't talked to him.
What would you say to him if you could talk to him?
I don't know. We'll see what he says to me.
How hard is it to have trust in him, particularly just because it's such a big stage and such a big fight going forward?
It's funny, man. I did the Jim Rome show today, and Jim Rome asked me about, you know, Jon Jones and where he's at, considering all the things that happened to him. And I said, I got to tell you something. You know, this is weird to say, but this might be the best thing that ever happened to Jon Jones, because he seems like a completely different person, and you know, the way he carries himself, the things that he's done, and then boom, this happens, you know.
And just a point, where were you eating dinner?
What's that?
Where were you eating dinner?
Strip steak. I was at strip steak in Mandalay Bay.
Dana's over here. Is Lesnar and Hunt, is that 5 rounds? Or
No, it'll be 3.
It'll be 3.
Be 3, yeah.
And in the event you can't find an opponent for Daniel Cormier, how would his, like, will he be compensated? Will he be paid something, or?
Well, normally what we do, you know, for the guys that don't make a lot of money, and they go through a camp and they show up, you know, we compensate them. Cormier makes a lot of money. So, I don't know.
And just from your perspective, how does this change the next few days? I mean, the card is largely intact, but arguably the biggest fight is off, promotional-wise. Does that change anything over the next few days?
No, it's Lesnar versus Hunt, you know? Like I said, you know, if a fight of this magnitude is going to fall off, at least it's during the biggest, baddest card we've ever assembled. So, I mean, when you look at this card, I mean, even the Fox prelims are ridiculous, you know? The Fight Pass prelims are ridiculous. It's an amazing card. So, I guess if it's going to happen, it's better that it happens here.
Yeah, and last thing, if there's no opponent for Cormier, would a fight from the FS1 prelims move up onto the pay-per-view card?
Yeah.
Everything gets bumped up.
Yeah. Yes, we will.
Thanks.
Have you made calls to anybody?
As what?
Have you made calls to anybody?
I haven't called anybody, other than Lorenzo.
Dana, Lorenzo famously said at the press conference when you guys announced the USADA deal, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Is this more or less the stuff you're talking about?
Yeah, you know, but if you really look at what's happened with the USADA program, it hasn't been that bad. I mean, these type of things are going to happen, but yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
And this is the fourth time Jones and Cormier has come together as a fight. Are you willing to go back to the well a fifth time on this fight?
It's pretty crazy. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how this thing goes down. Jones might get 2 years for this, you know? We'll see.
Is there any kind of protocol for you to follow? I mean, if this is a positive test that stands, you know, given his history from before, what would the penalty be?
Yeah, it's going to be USADA will decide that. USADA will decide what the penalty is going to be and what's going to happen to him.
Just curious, Dana, what would a fighter have to do to step in last second against Cormier? Would it have to be at the top of the rankings, or would you be open to sort of a fighter lower in the rankings who's really keen to jump in last second? Would you give that fighter an opportunity? If they're watching right now, what do they have to do to get that spot?
That's a good question. I don't know. We'll have to see who wants the fight, who steps forward, and realistically, how good of a fight we think it would be. You know what I mean? This is the best card ever. Rather than having Cormier fight somebody that absolutely, positively should not be fighting him, I'd rather have him not fight. Cool? Bring Cormier out?
What would you say to the fans?
What's that?
What would you say to the fans?
This sucks. You know, I mean, I don't know what to say. This sucks. It's unfortunate. Cool. All right, give us 2 minutes. I'll get Cormier out here.